Hey folks, before we begin, allow me to give you a quick recap of the story since it's been, quite a while. Basically, the Breakfast Club of Combat are this story's equivalent of the Dragon Team, and they were currently in the midst of defeating Deborah and the challenge of Barbady's ship. Oh, and by the way, Goku's a woman here. However, Celine and Goku were at loggerheads with one another about the manner in which they were going about things. And if you're wondering about who Celine is, it's just basically a female version of Cell. But all of this was the catalyst that Barbady needed to usurp one of them for his own ends, that one being Celine. Now with margin powers, Celine began the fight with Goku, the fight she had been craving. Goku and Celine were duking it out, like it were way back when they fought at the Celine Games. But back then, Celine was fighting just in order to prove herself worthy of joining the club. Not trying to destroy the world or anything, she simply wanted validation, not to kill. But this time though, it was different. Maybe she did want to kill. In this state, Celine had the look of a being who would stop at nothing but expunging their target from the face of the planet. It seemed like all her inhibitions had been tempered, and she was exuding all her wrath toward one specific place. Goku knew that this was bad news. Not only was Celine now no longer in control of her basic faculties, but her regenerative capabilities that she knew all too well about were a major cause for concern, and Barbady was becoming all too aware of this perk, that this was a huge plus.
This is magnificent. In fact,
he looked at the sealed egg containing Boo.
Do I even need Majin Buu anymore? This Celine seems almost perfect, practically identical to Buu from what I recall.
He pondered on this for quite a while, actually debating about whether to stick to his plan or not.
No, I shall let them duke it out to the death and I'll pick whoever wins. There! You're a genius, Barbady.
Genius being a strong word, okay. Opportunistic, yeah, that's much better. Meanwhile, the rest of the group within the ship were confused as to what to do. Shin then decided to use this chance to press on and find Barbady. We have to stop Majin Buu. I am sorry for your friend, but this is the utmost importance for the universe. Krillin, Yamcha, and Chi-Chi were unsure. They wanted to help their friend out, since she probably couldn't win against Celine all alone. They weren't happy about it, but they had no choice. Shin was right. Buu had to be ended. Barbady too obsessed with this new minion to even notice. Not long after the group exited to the lower chamber, Celine powered up to slam Goku into the side of the vessel. You were lucky I was so weak back then. So sad, lonely, and pitiful, that my intentions were not to kill you, but to join you. My mind was fixated on proving myself to you, and nothing else. But now that I have finally come to my senses, I've realized something. Why do I need to prove myself to anyone? Said Barbady to himself.
That's not good.
Celine continued. My eyes have been opened. Forget your stupid club. It's a relic of a bygone age from when you were all children, naive and arrogant. Look at you all. You're all starting to have families, clinging onto the past, and just waiting for a bad guy to come along and have something to do to fill in the gaps in your sad, lonely, miserable, barren lives. I, for one, am tired of that. Goku wiped away the blood from her mouth and tried her best to control herself. Is that what you really think of us? Is that the truth? Do you really think that little of us? Your friends? Celine spat in disgust. Afraid so, friend. I just needed the right fella to come along and snap me out of my haze. I am now in charge of my own destiny, not having to follow yours. And how I wish to take charge is by finishing what I started all those years ago. Goku was not only scared of the fight in hand, but also the fact that it was all starting to feel a little hopeless. Her spirit was weakening as all of Celine's words were pummeling her left, right, and center, more than what her fists ever could do. Barbady, watching along to all of this airing of dirty laundry from arguments he really didn't give a rat's about, was now actually starting to feel conflicted.
I didn't expect all of this, but if it leads to her killing that foolish Saiyan, then so be it.
Barbary was ready though, in case Celine pulled any fast ones on him though. He'd been around the block quite a few times. He wasn't out of the woods yet. Fortunately for our heroes though, this kept Barbary all the more distracted from the rest of the group. He'd practically forgotten about them. They could then gain access to the chamber containing Boo's egg. When they entered said room, they could see Barbary far off in the distance, slumped over a viewing globe, staring intently, enthralled at the fight going on in the other room. Yamcha then looked to the egg. Whoa, look at the size of that thing! Can we really destroy it? Well, if this Majin Buu is as strong as Celine, then how can we do anything? Said Krillin. Chi-Chi, though, was not paying any attention towards all of this doom-mongering. Instead, she looked over to Kibito and Shin, who were walking casually over to their quarry, following them. She hovered over to them, aware not to make any sudden sound or the sound of her feet, just talking to them, asking them why they were really seeking this ball. I already told you, my friend, to stop Majin Buu, but there is indeed more to this mission. Something more personal. They approached the egg. Majin Buu's state, from what I recall, was only tempered by the influence of my former master, the Grand Supreme Kai. He was the one in charge of all living things. I am but one of 4 lesser Supreme Kais. Well, I was, until Buu killed them all, and my master sacrificed himself to lessen the monster's wicked ways. Perhaps one day I can free him from Buu's clutches, if he's still there. But for now, we must get this egg away from Babidi. Chi-Chi was flummoxed.
But how? We can't just pick up this ball and walk out with it. Somebody's gonna see us. We can't blast our way out the door either. The entire room would collapse,
she hissed. Shin smiled. I have a way, but this will be where we part ways.
What?
She seethed.
You can't just leave us like this. How are we supposed to stop Babidi?
Babidi is strong in magic, friend, but in brute strength? Well, I'm sure your clubmates will prevail. Kibito then motioned for Chi-Chi to return to her friends. When we disappear with the egg, you rush the wizard. Got it? Chi-Chi was still mad with the sudden abandonment from these heavenly beings, but reluctantly nodded. Shin smiled again. I will not forget this act of bravery, Earthling. This is not the last you will hear from me. Chi-Chi flew back over to the other two and explained the plan. And sure enough, they were scared out of their wits. As that had been going on, what Babidi was watching, and that was keeping him very much occupied, was the fact that Celine was about to attack Goku with a massive Kamehameha, but a Kikoho from above managed to halt her. Why does it sound oddly familiar? Tenshinhan had arrived in the nick of time and demanded to know why Celine was attacking Goku. Celine's under Babidi's control. What? How? Celine was angry and rounded on Tenshinhan. Oh, you, the straight-laced one. I looked up to you, you know. You're so cool and stoic, unflappable. To think I was so smitten with you and the rest of your stinking club. All you've done by saving that excuse of a Saiyan is piss me off. You should have left well enough alone. Stay out of this battle. Tenshinhan was perplexed but stood firm. We're a team. Have you forgotten that? We fight together. Enough! For the last time, you and that lot are... Huh? Where did they go? Goku looked as well. The rest of the group had disappeared. Barbarian spotted they were gone too. And that was the signal. Kai, said Shin and he. The ball and Kibito vanished at once. The 3 club members of Krillin, Yamcha and Chi-Chi jumped on Babidi right before he could muster any sort of spell and proceeded to wail on him as hard as their fists could muster with all of their strength. Babidi was powerless to resist, unable to break away from this group powering up all the time. After a solid minute of beatdown, Babidi was left a broken mess on the floor. He tried to crawl over to where he remembered the Suyo ball was, but he couldn't see properly. He just had really these puffed up eyes, hoping there was enough power to activate it, but it was gone. No. Babidi groaned as his arm weakly reached out to nothing before the last of his strength failed him, and he passed. Babidi was no more. The trio then approached the viewing globe and gazed into it, hoping that by killing Babidi, it would be enough to break Celine out of being controlled. But It didn't seem to work that way. Goku was still fighting her, and now Tenshinhan was there too. "We gotta go and help," said Chi-Chi, the other two nodding. Sure, it might be hard to stop her, but they're a team, what else would they do? As they flew back into the room, Celine and Goku were still fighting, but the former was feeling very weird. She sensed something flare up and then disappear within her mind. She didn't realize this at the time, but this was Barbody's influence slowly withering away into nothing, and her regaining control of herself fully, but she was still continuing the battle with Goku. Why was she fighting Goku? What had happened to cause all of this? But then the lingering thoughts from earlier started to be recalled within her head. What she said, the idea of proving herself, the simpering after the Breakfast Club of Combat, the lack of real personality. Yeah, that was the kicker. That was all too true. But her fists were still doing what they were doing. Like she was actively trying to vent all of her anger, her fists manifesting all of the rage within her, as well as what the mage had. It was still very much present. When the group returned to the chamber though, this was the straw that broke the bug's back. With one last sucker punch, Goku fell to the floor, battered and bruised, Celine remaining in the air. The group ran over to their friend and frantically checked their pockets for any senzu beans to hand, but not even Krillin had one to spare. Celine eventually flew down to the group and presented a bean to them, one she had kept secretly in her crown for an emergency. It had been well packed into there, but there was no compassion in her gesture or apology. It was just like a, there. When Goku ate it, she stood up and looked at Celine, not with anger or hate, but with relief. "It seems like Barbody's dead. Therefore he's not controlling you anymore. I'm glad." "Yeah, and Bull's been taken away so that nobody can find him again. Yeah, we did it," said Krillin and Yamcha with delight. But the sentiment was not shared with their bug friend. "I know, but what he left me has changed me." She looked at Goku with seriousness. "All those things I said, Goku," she started to tear up, "were true." Goku was stunned.
"What? Well, it can't be. No, Barbody was making you say that to upset me, try and make me lose focus."
"No, Goku, it is the truth. Barbody brought out my darkest thoughts to bear without me being able to do anything about it. Turn that negative thought into fuel for my new power." She clenched her fist and sighed. "I'm afraid I'm not the same person anymore." She looked to the group. "I can't be a part of this. I need some space." Krillin was getting worried. "But where will you go? How long are you gonna need?" "I don't know, but all I do know is that I need to get far away from here. Please respect that. I know what you do, trying to convince me. I don't need that. I need to figure out what it is I want from this life. Now that Barbody has cleared my mind, my programming, it's gone." She touched her head. "I'm still part mechanical. That binary part of me has been changed, and it can't be changed back, no matter how much you want it to." "I'm sorry." The group weren't sure what to do, but Goku sighed.
"Is there really nothing we can do? Can't we just let Bulma help fix you? She did wonders for Android 16.
Celine shook her head. "No, Goku. I appreciate your intent to help me, but all that would do is revert me back to what I once was, clamoring for your praise. I am, or was, an amalgamation of your personalities and traits. I suppose what I'm trying to say is that, thanks to that potato wizard, I'm free," Chi-Chi said.
But you've always been free," said Chi-Chi. "Free to do whatever you want."
"This freedom, though, is different, Chi-Chi. Now please, let me go and realize that freedom. I will not ask again." "You can't do this! You're part of the team!" Tenshinhan then put his hand on Yamcha's shoulder. No, Yamcha. Let her go. This is what she wants. We can't cling on to something that's no longer there." Celine smiled. "Thank you, Tenshinhan. I was right to respect you." She then walked away from the group, exiting the room, out of the ship, and then off out into space. Where to? Even she didn't know. But for now, she was a free woman to do whatever she wanted to do, to discover herself properly in her own time. Days later, the group were left reeling from this emotional roller coaster, unsure what to make of this peaceful twist. They had been ready for a fight with Majin Buu, and they knew that they would probably lose people along the way, but not in this manner. Celine just upping sticks and leaving? But in the end, they had to understand that by keeping her here, they were now the ones that were simpering after her, clamoring for her validation. They were getting a taste of their own medicine, and they reluctantly understood. However, something was about to instantly arrive on the scene and make themselves known. Shin and Kibito had returned to Earth and had appeared right before them, looking much more relaxed than they were the last time they had met. Greetings, friends. I wish to let you know that Majin Buu has been safely contained and shall no longer darken the universe with his presence. The matter has been taken to the right authorities. Goku was curious. Authorities? You mean there's someone higher than yourself? Shin cut her off before she could say any more. I have come to reward you all for your aid in stopping Buu from being brought back to life. I told you, Chi-Chi, I would not forget. Come with me. I wish to train you all. Train, you say? Train, he said. Well, that was big news. After all, King Kai had been a great teacher, and now this was the Supreme Kai. What kind of powers could they wield from all of this? With little else to do around Earth other than wallowing in self-pity, the club felt it right to accept this proposal and head toward this new chapter, the sacred world of the Kais. But that's where we're going to be leaving things for right now.